Picture this, it's 2024, Trump on stage, firing up the crowd. If I'm elected, I'll free Imran Khan from prison, mark my words. The cheers erupt, a bold promise to Pakistan's ousted leader, jailed for corruption. Hey, truth seekers! Before we dive into today's expose, hit that like button. It takes 5 seconds and fuels our fight to question everything. Not subscribed? Join the Q Everything crew and tap the bell for raw, unfiltered truths. Stick with us to the end, I promise it's worth your time. Let's uncover the real story together. Fast forward to 2025. Khan's still behind bars, the promise forgotten, buried under headlines. As a fellow American who's watched too many vows vanish like smoke, I'm pissed. We're paying the price, $22 billion in Israel aid since 2023, and now Qatar's $1.5 trillion defense deal hangs by a thread. Why question Trump? Because broken promises aren't just words, they're costing us money, respect, and our moral compass. Let's start with Khan. Trump pledged his release during the campaign, tying it to US-Pakistan ties. Khan, a US ally against terrorism, was jailed in 2023 amid election rigging claims. By mid-2025, Trump's administration hasn't lifted a finger, 0 diplomatic pushes, per State Department logs. Khan's supporters in Pakistan rioted, burning US flags, and our favorability there dropped 20% to 12%, per Pew. It's not just forgotten, it's a slap to our credibility. This isn't isolated. Trump's 2024 campaign promised no more endless wars, yet US aid to Israel has hit $22 billion since October 2023, $17.9 billion in military gear, per the Costs of War Project. That's taxpayer money for F-35 jets and Iron Dome, while 37 million Americans live in poverty, per the Census Bureau 2025. Boeing, a key supplier, lost $150 million in sales from global boycotts, per MENA News, with stock dipping 5% in Q2 2025. And the Qatar deal? That $1.5 trillion arms package, signed in 2023, is now at risk. Qatar paused negotiations after Israel's 2025 Doha strike, per Reuters, threatening 100,000 US jobs in defense. Trump's team downplayed it, but it's a $1.5 trillion hit to our economy, bigger than our annual education budget. Morally, it's gut-wrenching. US support led to 64,000 Palestinian deaths since 2023, per the Gaza Health Ministry, versus 1,200 Israelis, per the BBC, a 50-to-1 ratio that sparked 1 million US protests, per CNN. Our global favorability plummeted to 46%, per Pew 2025, with only 32% approving Israel's actions, per Gallup. Allies like France called it unacceptable, per BBC, eroding our soft power. Financially, it's a disaster. The $22 billion aid adds to our $35 trillion debt, with $1.1 trillion in interest payments alone, per Treasury, more than defense spending. This diverts funds from home, where 28 million uninsured Americans face $43 billion in medical debt, per KFF.as. An American who's seen enough empty talk, we need to question Trump. These forgotten promises aren't harmless, they're draining our wallet, costing jobs, and tarnishing our name. The Khan pledge was a lifeline to Pakistan, a key ally against extremism, but ignoring it fueled anti-US sentiment, leading to 20% favorability drop there, per Pew. The Qatar fallout? That deal was a cornerstone for US defense exports, creating 100,000 jobs, per Defense News. Trump's silence after the strike risks it all, echoing how his 2018 Jerusalem embassy move sparked riots, costing $500 million in extra security, per the State Department. Other incidents? Trump's 2024 promise to end the forever wars rings hollow with $22 billion to Israel, ignoring Gaza's famine, where 90% are displaced, per Amnesty. Boeing's losses from boycotts hit $150 million, but the moral cost, 64,000 deaths, has 52% of Americans disapproving, per Quinnipiac 2025. We deserve answers. Trump promised a new era of peace, but this is the opposite. The $1.5 trillion Qatar deal hangs by a thread. Qatar's pause could slash US exports 10%, per Reuters, hurting our economy. As a concerned citizen, here's how we fix this. First, demand transparency, push for congressional audits of aid, like the 2025 Foreign Aid Oversight Act, which could save $5 billion yearly, per CBO. Vote for accountability, support candidates tying aid to human rights, as 60% of Americans want, per Pew. Join BDS campaigns, backed by 30% globally, per polls, pressuring companies like Boeing to pivot. Advocate locally, contact your reps, 70% of calls influence votes, per Congressional Management Foundation. Support groups like J Street for Balanced Policy, with 200,000 members pushing ceasefires. For the moral side, amplify voices, share Gaza stories on X, reaching 500 million users, per Statista, to counter narratives and rebuild respect. This isn't hopeless. The 2025 Qatar talks show diplomacy works. U.S. mediation saved $1.5 before. With 52% disapproval, per Quinnipiac, public pressure can shift policy. We're America, we hold leaders accountable. Question Trump, vote smart, advocate loud. By 2026, we can end the waste and restore our standing. Let's make promises mean something again. That's the truth they're hiding, but we're not done yet. If this hit you hard, smash that like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Q Everything. Tap the bell to stay in the fight for truth. Drop a comment, what's the biggest lie you're questioning? Let's keep pushing for answers and build a future where honesty wins. Catch you in the next one.